Oh, I'm gonna do that later. Okay. I want you guys to get it all first.
It's Orchard.
So, scene 2. Capulet.
He jests at scars that never felt a wound. So, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun.
Okay, context really quick, okay? In the play it says, right here, it says, I can't describe this because it's creepy, okay? Never do this to a significant other. Okay, scene 2, Capulet's orchard, okay? Enter Romeo. So where is Romeo?
In the orchard.
Whose orchard?
Capulet.
Okay, who lives there?
Juliet and Capulet.
So your boy Romeo just snuck over a fence and is chilling in Juliet's garden. Okay?
Wait, this is that one like really famous scene.
Yes,
Like,
okay?
she's up there,
So now,
he's down
Romeo's
here.
being a creeper in the garden. It's supposed to be romantic. I don't know what Shakespeare was thinking, okay?
I mean,
Don't
like,
ever sneak into your significant other's yard. Hold on. So then, you see, enter Juliet above at a window. Okay, so Juliet comes onto the balcony. He goes, you see the light, but soft. Okay, so he's now issuing a monologue.
Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief that thou, her maid, art far more fair than she. Be not her maid, since she is envious. Her vestal livery is but sick and green, and none but fools do wear it. Cast it off. It is my lady. Oh, it is my love. Oh, that she knew she were. She speaks, yet she says nothing. What of that? Her eye discourses. I will answer it. Oh, I am too bold. 'Tis not to me she speaks. Two of the fairest stars in all the heaven, having some business, do entreat her eyes to twinkle in their spheres till they return. What if her eyes were there, they in her head? The brightness of her cheek would shame those stars, as daylight doth a lamp. Her eyes in heaven would through the airy region stream so bright that birds would sing and think it were not night. See how she leans her cheek upon her hand. Oh, that I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek.
Okay, so we got creeper boy Romeo. Okay, chilling in the yard, right? And she's obviously rests her hand upon her cheek, and he says, "Oh, that I were that glove upon that cheek." Okay.
That's kind of creepy.
He's dying to be this glove that is touching her cheek. Okay.
It seems like he's talking a lot about her cheeks.
Yes, her eyes, right? Her eyes in the sky. The stars are not as bright. Okay. So it's super dramatic. All right. And remember, these are teenagers. So are you guys dramatic? Yes.
No.
Okay.
My brother
So,
is very-
hold on. Shh. So now Juliet starts speaking. Okay. And does she hear him? No. Remember that. Kaden, I need you to focus on one of you.
Cheek.
Why me?
She speaks. Oh, speak again, bright angel, for thou art as glorious to this night, being o'er my head, as is a winged messenger of heaven unto the white, upturned, wondering eyes of mortals that fall back to gaze on him as he bestrides the lazy, pacing clouds and sails upon the bosom of the air.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Or if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet.
Shall I hear more, or shall I speak at this?
'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What's Montague? It is nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Oh, be some other name! What's in a name? That which we call a rose, by any other name would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection which he owes without that title. Romeo, doff thy name, and for that name which is no part of thee, take all myself.
I take thee at thy word! Call me but Love, and I'll be new baptized. Henceforth, I never will be Romeo.
What man art thou that thus bestreened a knight so stumblest on thy counsel?
By a name I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself because it is an enemy to thee. Had I it written, I would tear the word.
My ears have yet not drunk 100 words of that tongue's utterance, yet I know the sound. Art thou not Romeo and a Montague?
Neither, fair saint, if either thee dislike.
How camest thou hither? Tell me, and wherefore? The orchard walls are high and hard to climb, and the place death, considering who thou art, if any of my kinsmen find thee here.
With love's light wings did I o'erperch these walls. For stony limits cannot hold love out. And what love can do, that dares love attempt.
Okay, so what happens in that scene, Daniel?
Oh, the scene's not over.
I'm saying so far. Sorry,
So
in
far,
that.
basically Romeo is pretty much commentating every single second of what she's doing.
Yes.
I'm being a creep.
And then,
Like obsessing over every little thing.
I wish to be that love of
okay.
my
And then she's talking about, she says the orchard walls are high and hard to climb. And what is his answer? How did he get over them?
Love wings.
With love's wings. Okay.
Therefore thy kinsmen are no let to me.
They do see thee, they will murder thee.
Alack, there lies more peril in thine eye than 20 of their swords. Look thou but sweet, and I am proof against their enmity.
I would not for the world that they saw thee here.
I have night's cloak to hide me from their sight. And but thou love me, let them find me here. My life were better ended by their hate than death prorogued wanting of thy love.
By whose direction foundst thou out this place?
Thy love, that first did prompt me to inquire. He lent me counsel, and I lent him eyes. I am no pilot, yet wert thou as far as that vast shore washed with the farthest sea, I would adventure for such merchandise.
Thou know'st the mask of night is on my face. Else would a maiden blush bepaint my cheek for that which thou hast heard me speak tonight. Fain would I dwell on form, fain deny what I have spoke. But farewell, compliment. Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say aye, and I will take thy word. Yet if thou swearest, thou mayst prove false. At lovers' perjuries they say Jove laughs. O gentle Romeo, if thou dost love, pronounce it faithfully. Or if thou think'st I am too quickly won, I'll frown and be perverse and say thee nay, so thou wilt woo, but else not for the world. In truth, fair Montague, I am too fond, and therefore thou mayst think my behaviour light. But trust me, gentleman, I'll prove more true than those that have more cunning to be strange. I should have been more strange, I must confess, but that thou overheardst ere I was ware my true love's passion. Therefore pardon me, and not impute this yielding to light love, which the dark night hath so discovered.
Lady, by yonder blessed moon, I swear that tips with silver all these fruit trees.
Okay, what is the device used when you exaggerate through it? This is an H. Hyperbole. Okay? These two overuse hyperbole way too much. Okay? So does that make you guys think, do you think Romeo is true with his intentions at this point, or do you think the hyperbole is thinking him a little bit hard to believe? How?
Like, he's... I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's going over the top, but not too over the top.
Okay, and how in love was he with Rosewood? Okay.
That one was...
Over the top as well, right? So now we're kind of going over the top again. So is it kind of hard to believe him when he's like, has this tendency to go like head over heels in love with like girls?
He's a teenager.
A little bit. Okay, yes, again, he's a teenager.
Oh, swear not by the moon, then constant moon, that monthly changes in her circled orb, lest that thy love prove likewise variable.
What shall I swear by?
Do not swear at all. Or if thou wilt, Swear by thy gracious self, which is the god of my idolatry, and I'll believe thee.
If my heart's dear
Oh,
love...
do not swear. Although I joy in thee, I have no joy of this contract tonight. It is too rash, too unadvised, too sudden, too like the lightning which doth cease to be ere one can say it lightens. Sweet, good night. This bud of love by summer's ripening breath may prove a beauteous flower when next we meet. Good night, good night. As sweet repose and rest come to thy heart as that within my breast.
Oh, wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied?
What satisfaction canst thou have tonight?
The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine.
I gave thee mine before thou didst request it. And yet I would it were to give again.
Wouldst thou withdraw it? For what purpose, love?
But to be frank and give it thee again. And yet I wish but for the thing I have. My bounty is as boundless as the sea. My love as deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite. I hear some noise within. Dear love, adieu.
Juliet!
Anon, good nurse. Sweet Montague, be true. Stay but a little, I will come again.
Oh, blessed, blessed night! I am afeard, being in night, all this is but a dream, too flattering sweet to be substantial.
3 words, dear Romeo, and good night indeed. If that thy bent of love be honorable, thy purpose marriage, send me word tomorrow by one that I'll procure to come to thee, where and what time thou wilt perform the rite, and all my fortunes at thy foot I'll lay, and follow thee, my lord, throughout the world.
Okay, so what does Romeo want from her? Aiden. What does Romeo want from her? What does he say that he needs from her? A vow, right? I need a faithful vow, okay? So then she hears a noise on the inside, and who made the noise?
The nurse.
The nurse. And
Dawn.
it's not really like a night nurse, it's more like a nanny kind of thing, okay? So she hears her, she goes back inside, that's what says exit, and then Romeo says, I hope this is not all a dream, right? Re-enter Juliet. She comes back and says 3 words, dear Romeo, good night indeed. If that thy bent of love be honorable, thy purpose marriage, send me word tomorrow, and I will leave all of my fortunes at the foot. Okay? So she's saying, if you want to get married, dude, let's do it. Okay? Let's get married.
Let's go.
I'm going to leave my name behind. I don't care if our families hate each other. I don't care if I'm rich. I'm going to be poor because I love you. Okay?
I'm a sacrifice.
So they're in love, people. Okay?
I'm married.
It's getting serious. So, also in plays, there is dialogue as well, just like in novels, right? Like they're going back and forth having a dialogue. But what kind of language does Shakespeare use in their dialogue?
Language that makes no sense. Thou is I. Say this.
Literal or figurative language?
Figurative.
Figurative. Okay?
A lot of figurative language.
A lot of figurative language. So if you go back to Juliet when she says, this bud of love by summer's ripening breath, right? She's referring to everything like, even though love like is like a little rosebud, okay? It's just now budding. Alright, so pay attention to that figurative language.
Madam? I come anon. But if thou meanst not well, I do beseech thee. Madam! By and by I come, to cease thy suit, and leave me to my grief. Tomorrow will I send.
So thrive my soul.
1,000 times good night.
1,000 times the worse to want thy light. Love goes toward love as schoolboys from their books. But love from love? Toward school with heavy looks.
Romeo! Oh, for a falconer's voice to lure this tassel gentle back again. Bondage is hoarse and may not speak aloud. Else would I tear the cave where echo lies, and make her airy tongue more hoarse than mine, with repetition of my Romeo's name. Romeo!
It is my soul that calls upon my name. How silver sweet sound lovers' tongues by night, like softest music to attending ears.
Romeo!
My sweet!
What o'clock tomorrow shall I send to thee?
By the hour of 9.
I will not fail. 'Tis 20 years till then. I have forgot why I did call thee back.
Let me stand here till thou remember it.
I shall forget to have thee still stand there, remembering how I love thy company.
Why do you think,
Super creepy.
why do you think she is demanding marriage? Like, she is like, if you want this, then we gotta get married. Why do you think she's demanding this marriage?
So he doesn't.
Do it while young.
What?
Do it while, like, get married while young.
Yeah, also, okay. Go ahead, Daniel.
This time it was a lot more like that. There wasn't really as many morals towards marriage then. So like you could just be like, oh, actually, you know what? Just kidding. I actually like this person more. But marriage is more of a commitment.
Yes, and think of their families. Okay, if they're married, can their families forbid them from seeing each other? No. Okay.
Who knows? It might bring families together.
Maybe.
Or not.
And I'll still stay to have thee still forget, forgetting any other home but this.
It's almost morning. I would have thee gone. And yet, no farther than a wanton's bird, that lets it hop a little from her hand, like a poor prisoner in his twisted gyves, and with a silk thread plucks it back again, so loving jealous of his liberty.
I would I were thy bird.
Sweet, so would I. Yet I should kill thee with much cherishing. Good night. Good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow, that I shall say good night till it be morrow.
Sleep dwell upon thine eyes, peace in thy breast. Would I were sleep and peace so sweet to rest. Hence will I to my ghostly father sell, his help to crave, and my dear hap to tell.
Scene 3. Friar Lawrence's cell in the monastery.
The gray-eyed morn smiles up.
Hold on, sorry, one second before. Why is he now going to Friar Lawrence's? Faith, why do you think he's going to Friar Lawrence's? Yes. Okay, so Friar Lawrence is the one who's going, he's like the spiritual advisor, right? He's the one that's going to marry them. So,
Friar's monk,
something like that. Yeah. So, do you think that Romeo's intentions are pure at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the first thing he does is go to get the dude to go marry him, right?
Of the browning night, checkering the eastern clouds with streaks of light, and flecked darkness like a drunkard reels from forth day's path and Titan's fiery wheels. Now, ere the sun advance his burning eye, the day to cheer, and night's dank dew to dry, I must upfill this osier cage of ours with baleful weeds and precious juiced flowers. The earth, that's nature's mother, is her tomb. What is her burying grave? That is her womb. And from her womb children of diverse kind we sucking on her natural bosom find. Many for many virtues excellent, none but for some, and yet all different. Oh, mickle is the powerful grace that lies in plants, herbs, stones, and their true qualities. For naught so vile that on the earth doth live, but to the earth some special good doth give. Nor aught so good, but strained from that fair use, revolts from true birth, stumbling on abuse.
Okay, so this may be confusing. Friar Lawrence is giving a speech basically about life. Okay? If you're looking, he's talking about the duality of life, talking about, Nate, Aiden, stay with me. He's talking about the pros and the cons, right? Just kind of like the two sides of the love of Romeo and Juliet. He's talking about death and life. He's talking about earth, the good and the vile. He's talking about the plants and the stones, revolts from true birth, something on abuse, okay? So, he gives fair warnings about the qualities of both people and plants. He says that good can lead to evil if turned from its true purpose.
Like an old wise man.
Okay? What happens at the end of Romeo and Juliet?
They all die.
We all know.
They just
Okay?
die.
Okay, so it's almost like a little bit of a foreshadowing from Mr. Friar when he's like talking about like even the best of intentions can turn to something bad. Okay,
That's like the best of intentions,
hold on. His speech is continuing.
Virtue itself turns vice being misapplied, and vice sometimes by action dignified. Within the infant rind of this small flower, poison hath residence, and medicine power. For this being smelt, with that part cheers each part. Being tasted, slays all senses with the heart. Two such opposed kings encamp them still in man as well as herbs, grace and rude will. And where the worser is predominant, full soon the canker death eats up that plant.
Okay, so now he's talking about a plant, right? How it's beautiful, but if you taste it, it'll kill you. It'll smell good, but if you taste it, it'll kill you. Okay, it's talking about the duality of life.
Good morrow, Father.
Benedicite, what early tongue so sweet saluteth me? Young son, it argues a distempered head so soon to bid good morrow to thy bed. Care keeps his watch in every old man's eye, and where care lodges, sleep will never lie. But where unbruised youth with unstuffed brain doth couch his limbs, there golden sleep doth reign. Therefore thy earliness doth me assure thou art uproused with some distemperature. Or if not so, then here I hit it right. Our Romeo hath not been in bed
tonight. Okay? So what does he think is going on with Romeo? He thinks something's wrong. Okay? But what's the irony of that? What's he really there for?
Goodness.
It is marriage time, people!
That last is true. The sweeter rest was mine.
God pardon sin. Wast thou with Rosaline?
With Rosaline, my ghostly father? No. I had forgot that name, and that name's woe.
That's...
Okay, isn't it funny, you guys? I wish that it was pointed out to me how funny this play was when I was reading at your guys' age, okay? He literally was just in love with another girl, like, last night, to where the friar thinks he's gonna marry him with that girl. Okay? And Romeo says, I have forgot that name, and that name's Woe, okay? He's like, get out of here with that.
My good son. But where hast thou been, then?
I'll tell thee ere thou ask it me again. I have been feasting with mine enemy, whereon a sudden one hath wounded me, that's by me wounded. Both our remedies within thy help and holy physic lies. I bear no hatred, blessed man, for lo, my intercession likewise steads my foe.
Be plain, good son, and homely in thy drift. Riddling confession finds but riddling shrift.
Then plainly know my heart's dear love is set on the fair daughter of rich Capulet. As mine on hers, so hers is set on mine, and all combined, save what thou must combine by holy marriage. When and where and how we met, we wooed and made exchange of vow, I'll tell thee as we pass. But this I pray, that thou consent to marry us today.
Holy St. Francis, what a change is here. Is Rosaline, that thou didst love so dear, so soon forsaken? Young men's love then lies not truly in their hearts, but in their eyes. Jesu Maria! What a deal of brine hath washed thy sallow cheeks for Rosaline! How much salt water thrown away in waste to season love that of it doth not taste! The sun not yet thy sighs from heaven clears. Thy old groans ring yet in my ancient ears. Lo, here upon thy cheek the stain doth sit of an old tear that is not washed off yet. If e'er thou wast thyself, and these woes thine, thou and these woes were all for Rosaline. And art thou changed? Pronounce this sentence then. Women may fall when there's no strength in men.
Thou chidest me oft for loving Rosaline.
Okay. So, when the friar says... Kyle. So when the friar says, be plain, good son, and homely in thy drift, riddling confession finds that riddling shrift. What does he mean? Yeah.
Basically, well, when you say riddling confessions, like finds riddling shit, he's talking about Romeo just basically said, he came to him like,
I have found the solution to all my problems, and I have found one and to deal with me and our father's problems, and both our remedies lie within thy help, which means like in order for their problem to be solved and like everything to be great, it's all based on this holy visit.
Okay. And he says, I've been feasting with my enemy. That's by me wounded. Both our remedies within thy help. The friar's like, what the heck are you talking about? Right? He still thinks he's with Rosaline, dang it. Okay? And then he says, be playing. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
Aiden.
he wasn't really even with.
Hold on. Aiden, reason his.
Just said what I was going to say.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Then Romeo changes his tone here. Okay? Nate, how does he change his tone?
He goes from like, oh, like trying to tell him, and then he gets kind of mad. It seems like.
What do you mean? What do you mean by mad?
It seems like it got more angry, like a more
Like direct?
yeah.
Yes. Okay, so he changes it to he's like, blah, 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 to straight a point that says, no, my heart's love dear is set, right, on the fair daughter. We must be combined by holy marriage. When, where, and how. We met, we would have made an exchange of it. So now he's like very clear, like, you gotta marry us. Okay? So you can see his intentions are very clear now.
Friar is so confused right now.
Poor Friar.
He's like, what's
For doting, not for loving, pupil mine.
And badst me bury love.
Not in a grave to lay one in, another ought to have.
I pray thee chide not. She whom I love now doth grace for grace and love for love allow. The other did not so.
Oh, she knew well thy love did read by rote that could not spell. But come, young waverer, come, go with me. In one respect I'll thy assistant be, for this alliance may so happy prove to turn your household's rancor to pure love.
Oh, let us hence! I stand on sudden haste!
Wisely and slow! They stumble that run fast.
Scene 4. A street.
Where the devil should this Romeo be? Came he not home tonight?
Not to his father's. I spoke with his man.
Why, that same pale, hard-hearted wench, that Rosaline, torments him so that he will sure run mad.
Tybalt, the kinsman to old Capulet, hath sent a letter to his father's house.
A challenge on my life.
Romeo will answer it.
Any man that can write may answer a letter.
Nay, he will answer the letter's master. How he dares being dared.
Alas, poor Romeo, he is already dead. Stabbed with a white wench's black eye, shot through the ear with a love song, the very pin of his heart, cleft with the blind bow boy's butt shaft. And is he a man to encounter Tybalt?
Why? What is Tybalt?
Okay, so why does the friar decide to marry them? Kaden? Look back at the text. What does the friar, what does he say when he decides to marry them? Why does he do it? Look at his second to last thing he says on that page. What did you say? No doubt. Right with my son. Read this one. To read by rote I could not spell, but come, young waver, come go with me. In one respect I'll thy assistant be, for this alliance may so happy prove to turn your household's rancor into pure love.
So,
Hold on, let me figure it out. Huh? Bitter hate. So why does he decide to marry them?
Oh, because he thinks that since the two can save each other, that this will make the families have tried at least.
Yes.
Accept each other.
Did you guys get that? Okay. So he decides to marry them because he thinks that he can turn their hatred into love finally. Okay, so now we're at this scene with Benvolio and Mercutio. Oops.
More than Prince of Cats, I can tell you. Oh, he's the courageous captain of compliments. He fights as you sing prick song, keeps time, distance, and proportion, rests me his minim rest, 1, 2, and the third in your bosom. The very butcher of a silk button. A duelist, a gentleman of the very first house, of the first and second cause. Ah, the immortal passado, the punto reverso, the hey!
The what?
The pox of such antic, lisping, affecting fantasticos. These new tuners of accent. By Jesu, a very good blade, a very tall man, a very good whore. Why, is not this a lamentable thing, grandsire, that we should be thus afflicted with these strange flies, these fashion-mongers, these pardonnez-mois, who stand so much on the new form that they cannot sit at ease on the old bench? Oh, they're
Okay, so Mercutio is kind of like this angry little old man, right? He's making fun of people who try new styles. He's making fun of people who try new things, right? He's constantly making fun of other people. And Benvolio's like, the what? Like, what are you talking about? Okay? So Mercutio is getting done with his little speech here, and then it says, enter Romeo, no longer moody. Okay, so he's no longer moping around.
Oh, they're bon!
Here comes Romeo! Here comes Romeo!
Without his roe, like a dried herring. Oh, flesh, flesh, how art thou fishified? Now is he for the numbers that Petrarch flowed in. Laura to his lady was but a kitchen wench. Mary, she had a better love to berhyme her. Dido, a dowdy. Cleopatra, a gypsy. Helen and Hero, Hildings and harlots. Thisbe, a grey eye or so, but not to the purpose. Signor Romeo, bonjour. There's a French salutation to your French slop. You gave us the counterfeit fairly last night.
Okay, so here's what's happening, right? Mercutio still thinks what?
That he likes Rosaline.
He's still moping over Rosaline, right? So he's making fun of him. And he calls him, he says, now is he for the numbers that Petrarch flowed in Laura to his lady. Okay? Have you guys ever heard of the Petrarchan sonnet? He's the OG writer of, like, love poems. Okay? So it's an allusion to this epic love lady. He's making fun of it, being like, oh, Romeo. You know what you guys know as a Romeo to, like, someone who's, like, courting a lady? Like, that's literally what he's doing without knowing that's what Romeo was at the time. Like, he's like, Romeo, you're being such a Romeo. Alright, now here goes Romeo. Here's his response.
Good morrow to you both. What counterfeit did I give you?
The slip, sir, the slip. Can you not conceive?
Pardon, good Mercutio. Look, my business was great, and in such a case as mine, a man may strain courtesy.
That's as much to say, such a case as yours constrains a man to bow in the hams.
Meaning to curtsy.
Thou hast most kindly hit it.
A most courteous exposition.
Nay, I am the very pink of courtesy.
Pink for flower.
Right.
Right, then is my pump well flowered?
So if you guys see, well, why then is my pump well flowered? A pump is a shoe, so shoes with flower-like designs. So they're just getting into like a little word battle here.
Well said! Follow me this jest now, till thou hast worn out thy pump, that, when the single soul of it is worn, the jest may remain after the wearing solely singular.
Oh, single-souled jest, solely singular for the singleness.
Oh, come between us, good Benvolio, my wits faint!
Switching spurs, or I'll cry a match.
Nay, if our wits run the wild goose chase, I am done, for thou hast more of the wild goose in one of thy wits than, I am sure, I have in my whole 5. Was I with you there for the goose?
Thou wast never with me for anything, when thou was not there for the goose.
Okay, what do you guys think about what's the goose?
I have no clue.
Any idea? They're talking about like a goose chase, and thou wast never with me for anything when thou wast not there for the goose chase. I will bite thee by the ear for that jest, and I, good goose, bite not. Is that when they're chasing girls? They're on the goose chase? Maybe?
I will bite thee by the ear for that jest.
Nay, good goose, bite not!
Thy wit is a very bitter sweeting. It is a most sharp sauce.
And is it not then well served into a sweet goose?
Alright.
Oh, here's a wit of Cheveril that stretches from an inch narrow to an ell broad.
I stretch it out for that word broad, which added to the goose proves thee far and wide a broad goose.
Why is not this better now than groaning for love? Now art thou sociable. Now art thou Romeo. Now art thou what thou art, by art as well as by nature. For this driveling love is like a great natural that runs lolling up and down to hide his bauble in a hole.
Okay, what does Mercutio think he's just done? Read that section right there again. Why is not this better now than groaning over love? Now art thou sociable, now art thou Romeo, now art thou what thou art, by art as well as by nature. For this dribbling love is like a great natural that runs lolling up and down to hide his bauble in a hole. Daniel.
Means that it's like completely changing because
Okay, yeah.
It's like saying like that, yeah, like basically he's changing that, like without like, you know, chasing after Juliet, he's like being, you know, normal, being like actually himself again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not Juliet, but Rosaline. He thinks he cheered him up. He thinks he's still upset over Rosaline. Okay? So he's like, see, now aren't you way better? Aren't you more sociable? Like he thinks his witty self is the reason that Romeo is in this better mood.
How funny.
Stop there, stop there. Thou desirest me to stop in my tail against the hair?
Thou wouldst else have made thy tail large.
Oh, thou art deceived. I would have made it short, for I was come to the whole depth of my tail, and meant indeed to occupy the argument no longer.
Oh, here's goodly gear.
A sail! A sail!
Two, a shirt and a smock.
Come on!
My fan, Peter!
Good Peter to hide her face, for her fan's the fairer of the two.
God ye good morrow, gentlemen.
God ye good den, fair gentlewoman.
Is it good then?
'Tis no less, I tell ye, for the bawdy hand of the dial is now upon the prick of noon.
Out upon you! What a man are you?
One gentlewoman that God hath made himself to mar.
By my troth, it is well said. For himself to mar, quotha. Gentlemen, can any of you tell me where I may find the young Romeo?
I can tell you, but young Romeo will be older when you have found him than he was when you sought him. I am the youngest of that name, for fault of a worse.
Okay, so why do you think Shakespeare would, because he shows how kind of like witty and like young they are, right? Why do you think he would do that at this point? Why do you think? What happened at the beginning of this act, of this scene? Who made a threat? Do we need to go back? Tybalt made a threat to Romeo. Okay, at the beginning. If we go back, let's find it. Let's find it. It should be the scene, or close to it. Friar Lawrence, Mercutio. Oh, here we go. Okay. Tybalt the so this is page 217. Tybalt the kinsman to old Capulet has sent a letter to his father's house, a challenge on my life. Romeo will answer it. Any man that can write may answer a letter. Nah, he will answer the letter's master. How dares he being dared? Okay? So Tybalt has written a letter threatening Mercutio and Romeo. Alright. So now we get to the scene where the kids are being joyful, they're making fun of their nurse, okay? Put it away, Nate. Sorry. Why do you think Shakespeare would do that? Why do you think he's playing up their youthfulness? Okay, do you have any idea? Why would he show how much fun they are having being kids right now?
Because it's going to get serious later on.
Something bad's going to happen, okay? He's trying to play up the tragedy. Alright. Yes, they're having fun.
You say well.
Yea, is the worst well? Very well tooken, faith. Wisely, wisely.
If you be he, sir, I desire some confidence with you.
Ooh, she will invite him to some supper.
Abod, so ho!
What is there found?
No hair, sir, unless a hair, sir, in a Lenten pie that is something stale and hoar ere it be spent.
An old hare whore, and an old hare whore is very good meat in Lent. But a hare that is whore is too much for a score when it whores ere it be spent.
Romeo, will you come to your father's? We'll to dinner.
I will...
Okay, so is the nurse lower than these guys in terms of class standings? Yeah, and they know that, right? They're belittling her, like, to a serious degree. And it even talks about, I'm going to explain this to you guys just because I think it's, because you're hearing the word whore repeatedly, and I think it's a little confusing. Okay? So, they're talking, they call her a bod, which on the right it says, or a woman who runs a house of prostitution. So they're just being mean, right? They're just being rude, and they're calling her unkind things, and they're calling her negative things that a woman would have been called in that time period. Like a bod, okay? It's a word we don't use anymore, I've never heard it other than this. Besides, like, VOD. No. Okay? So then when he sings that stupid song where it's like an old hair whore and an old hair whore, he's using the puns hair, a rabbit, or a prostitute, and a whore, which means old. Okay? So he's using the play on words, but they're negative words in certain ways, and they're singing a song to this old nurse. So they're just being cruel kids, basically, is what. So they're kind of showing you how Shakespeare's showing you how they know that they're a better class than this nurse.
I will follow you.
Farewell, ancient lady. Farewell, lady, lady, lady!
Mary, farewell. I pray you, sir, what saucy merchant was this that was so full of his ropery?
A gentleman, nurse, that loves to hear himself talk, and will speak more in a minute than he will stand to in a month.
And to speak anything against me, I'll take him down, an hour lustier than he is, and 20 such jacks. And if I cannot, I'll find those that shall. Scurrying knave. I am none of his flirt gills. I am none of his skeins mates. And thou must stand by too and suffer every knave to use me at his pleasure?
I saw no man use you at his pleasure. If I had, my weapon should quickly have been out, I warrant you. I dare draw as soon as another man if I see occasion in a good quarrel. And the law on my side?
For God, I am so vexed that every part about me quivers. Scurry knave. Pray you, sir, a word. And as I told you, my young lady bade me inquire you out. What she bid me say, I will keep to myself. But first let me tell ye, if ye should lead her into a fool's paradise, as they say, it were a very gross kind of behavior, as they say, for the gentlewoman is young. And therefore, if you should deal double with her, truly it were an ill thing to be offered to any gentlewoman, and very weak deal.
Okay, what did we just find out? Why is the nurse there?
Because Juliet sent her, and
Juliet sent the nurse to go see where they were at with their marriage debates, right? And she gives them a nice little warning. She's like, I will keep to myself, but first let me tell you. If you should lead her into a fool's paradise, as they say, or a gross kind of behavior, as they say, and she's like threatening him now, right? Like, if you're going to lead her down this bad path, oh, my lord, I'm going to whoop you, right? That's where she's going to. Yes, okay? Basically like a very protective mom.
Nurse, commend me to thy lady and mistress. I protest unto thee.
Good heart, and a faith, I will tell her as much. Lord, she will be a joyful woman.
What wilt thou tell her, nurse? Thou dost not mark me.
I will tell her, sir, that you do protest, which, as I take it, is a gentlemanlike offer.
Bid her devise some means to come to Shrift this afternoon, and there she shall, at Friar Lawrence' cell, be shrived and married. Here's for thy pains.
No, truly, sir, not a penny.
Go to, I say you shall.
This afternoon, sir? Well, she shall be there.
And stay, good nurse, behind the abbey wall. Within this hour my man shall be with thee, and bring thee cords made like a tackled stair, which to the high top gallant of my joy must be my convoy in the secret night. Farewell. Be trusty, and I'll quit thy pains. Farewell. Commend me to the mistress.
Oh, God in heaven bless thee. Oh, hark you, sir.
What sayest thou, my dear nurse?
Is your man secret? Did you ne'er hear say two may keep counsel, putting one away?
I warrant thee, my man's as true as steel.
Well, sir, my mistress is the sweetest lady. Lord, when 'twas a little prating thing. Oh, there is a nobleman in town, one Paris, that would fain lay knife aboard. But she, good soul, had as lief see a toad, a very toad, as see him. I anger her sometimes and tell her that Paris is the properer man. But I'll warrant you, when I say so, she looks as pale as any clout in the versal world. Doth not Rosemary and Romeo begin both with a letter?
Aye, nurse. What of that? Both with an R?
Ha! Mocker. That's the dog's name. R is for the... No, I know it begins with some other letter. And she hath the prettiest sententious of it, of you and Rosemary, that it would do you good to hear it.
Commend me to thy lady.
Aye, 1,000 times. Peter!
Anon!
Peter, take my fan and go before. And a pace!
Okay, so now we're back in the Capulet's orchard.
Scene 5. Capulet's orchard.
Here comes Juliet.
The clock struck 9 when I did send the nurse. In half an hour she promised to return. But then she cannot meet him. That's not so. Oh, she is lame. Love's heralds should be thoughts, which 10 times faster glide than the sun's beams, driving back shadows over lowering hills. Therefore do nimbled-pinioned doves draw love, and therefore hath the wind-swift Cupid wings. Now is the sun upon the highmost hill of this day's journey, and from 9 till 12 is 3 long hours, yet she is not come. But she affections and warm youthful blood. She would be as swift in motion as a ball. My words would bandy her to my sweet love, and his to me. But old folks many fain as they were dead, unwieldy, slow, heavy, and pale as lead. Oh God, she comes! Oh, honey nurse, what news? Hast thou met with him? Send thy man away.
Peter, stay at the gate.
Now, good, sweet nurse. Oh Lord, why look'st thou sad? Though news be sad, yet tell them merrily. If good, thou shapest the music of sweet news by playing it to me with so sour a face.
I am a-weary. Give me leave a while. Fie, how my bones ache. What a jaunce have I had.
I would thou hadst my bones, and I thy news. Nay, come, I pray thee, speak. Good, good nurse, speak.
Okay, so what is she talking about in terms of love? Is it fast? Is it slow? What does she say? Look back at that section. She says, love heralds should be thoughts, which 10 times faster glide than the sun's beams, driving back shadows, okay? Then at the end, what does she point out? She says, but what? What does she say? Look back at your book. But what? What does she say? She's talking about, love is quick, but... What does she say?
The nurse is slow.
She literally says, but old folks, right? She's like, love moves so quickly, but this dang nurse is so old, and old people are slow, okay? So you gotta look for the little bits of humor that Shakespeare throws in, okay? So...
Listen, what haste! Can you not stay a while? You don't see that I am out of breath?
How art thou out of breath when thou hast breath to say to me that thou art out of breath? The excuse that thou dost make in this delay is longer than the tale thou dost excuse. Is thy news good or bad? Answer to that. Say either, and I'll stay the circumstance. Let me be satisfied. Is good or bad?
Well, you have made a simple choice. You know not how to choose a man. Romeo? No, not he. Though his face be better than any man's, yet his leg excels all men's, and for a hand, and a foot, and a body, though they be not to be talked on, yet they are past compare. He is not the flower of courtesy, but I'll warrant him as gentle as a lamb. Go thy ways, wench, serve God. What, have you dined at home?
No. No! But all this did I know before. What say he of our marriage?
What of that? Lord, how my head aches. What a head have I? It beats as it would fall in 20 pieces. Oh, my back. Oh, the other side. Oh, my back.
Okay, what do we notice about the nurse? She's old, okay. Where is her mind? She's talking about Romeo's face, then she's talking about her back, then she's talking about her head. Can she stay focused? No, absolutely not.
My back! Be sure your heart for sending me about to catch my death with jauncing up and down.
Faith, I am sorry that thou art not well. Sweet, sweet, sweet nurse, tell me what says my love.
Your love says, like an honest gentleman, and a courteous, a kind, and a handsome, and I warrant a virtuous... Where is your mother?
Where is my mother?
She's up top.
She is within. Where should she be? How oddly thou repliest! Your love says like an honest gentleman, where is your mother?
Oh, God's lady, dear, are you so hot? Mary, come up, I trow. Is this the poultice for my aching bones? Henceforward, do your messages yourself.
Here is such a coil. Come, what says Romeo?
Have you got leave to go to shrift today?
I have.
Then hie you hence to Friar Lawrence' cell. There stays a husband to make you a wife. Now comes the wanton blood up in your cheeks. They'll be in scarlet straight at any news. Hie you to church, I must another way, to fetch a ladder, by the which your love must climb a bird's nest soon when it is dark. I am the drudge and toil in your delight, but you shall bear the burden soon at night. Go, idle to dinner, hie you to the cell.
Hie to high fortune, honest nurse, farewell.
Scene 6. Friar Lawrence's cell.
So smile the heavens upon this holy act, that after hours with sorrow chide us not.
Amen. Amen. But come what sorrow can, it cannot countervail the exchange of joy that one short minute gives me in her sight.
Alright, last page.
Do thou but close our hands with holy words, then love devouring death do what he dare. It is enough I may but call her mine.
These violent delights have violent ends, and in their triumph die like fire and powder, which as they kiss consume. The sweetest honey is loathsome in his own deliciousness, and in the taste confounds the appetite. Therefore, love moderately. Long love doth so. Too swift arise as tardy as too slow.
What is his advice to Romeo right there? What is his advice to him? Huh? Yeah, don't love too hard, don't love too fast, right? Because you seem to do that with these women that you fall in love with.
Oh, here comes the lady. Oh, so light a foot will ne'er wear out the everlasting flint. A lover may bestride the gossamer that idles in the wanton summer air, and yet not fall. So light is vanity.
But even to my ghostly confessor.
Romeo shall thank thee, daughter, for us both.
As much to him, else is his thanks too much.
Ah, Juliet, if the measure of thy joy be heaped like mine, and that thy skill be more to blaze in it, then sweeten with thy breath this neighbor air, and let rich music's tongue unfold the imagined happiness that both receive in either by this dear encounter.
Conceit more rich in matter than in words, brags of his substance, not of ornament. They are but beggars that can count their worth. But my true love is grown to such excess, I cannot sum up some of half my wealth.
Come with me, and we will make short work. For by your leaves you shall not stay alone, till Holy Church incorporate two in one.
Okay. So, he's trying to make, he says you won't be alone until you're married, right? So he's trying to make sure their virtue is sealed. So, in your guys's canvas, you have a few things. So look at the board, please, so I know that you've got this. Okay. So you need to complete the summarization worksheet. You can print it out, or you can use DocHub, okay? This is basically what happens. I want you guys to ignore the find it on the chart. That's not anything, okay? But basically, you're going to summarize the scene. So this is going to help to make sure that you understand it. So in scene 1, the Capulet Orchards Wall, Romeo overhears his friends talking about him. Okay, what are they saying? Juliet's balcony sing. What was the summary of that? The friar's response to Romeo. Okay, remember, why does he agree to marry them? Scene 4, the street in Verona. Okay, what does Romeo tell the nurse? And lastly, scene 6 at the monastery. Okay, monastery? Monastery, that's how you say it. What did I say?
Monastery.
You guys, my brain just could not work today. I'm sorry. I looked at Nate what did I just say? So that's what you're doing. You need that due by Sunday. And then the last thing you're doing over spring break is you're reading Act 3. Okay? Act 3 isn't any much of a difference than Act 2. I think it might be a little bit longer. But did you guys see how I played that out loud? And Daniel?
Yeah.
Okay? You guys can do that on your own ebooks. Okay? So the wording and stuff, listen to it, or even watch one of the plays and follow along on YouTube. Okay? While you do that, you're going to have to do a journal entry over break. So this is just asking you to write a journal entry from one of 2 points of view and a discussion board by next Sunday. Okay? You guys have a week and 4 days to do that. A week and 2 days. Yes, a week and 2 days. Okay? It's not hard. Any questions? Did you understand that a lot better when I stopped and asked you questions? Was that effective? Can I have a yes or a no? Because I won't do it again.
Yes.
That works? Okay. That's a lot more helpful.
Better than actually having to read it yesterday, which was the words. And
Well, it's supposed to be read aloud. It's a play.
He didn't do anything.
I told him to do Reader's Theater, and literally...
He's been off topic.
That makes me so angry.
I also need to do the questions.
Okay, so do that over the weekend, okay?